Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight I give you the Atago. I hope I said that close enough for you guys. I know a lot of people were getting on me in the comments last time I said Atago, but I'm sorry guys. I'm English. I pronunciate things in the English rules, you know, like we have certain rules that we go by, just like every other language has their own rules for how they speak their language. So it takes me a minute, and I do try, even though most of the time I obviously end up reverting back to the way that I have just, you know, taught my entire life to speak. So I apologize. Also, this is the first time I've noticed the creepy mansion castle up on the top of the hill there. I like it. How have I not noticed that until just now? But anyway, let's get this down so we don't take too long. The Atago. First of all, #1 rule for any of these meet the ships is, how does it look? And I gotta say, I approve. It's a good ship. Good looking ship. As far as looks go. You know, sometimes the Japanese ships aren't the best looking, but this is not one of those times. I kind of dig it. And the camo's pretty sick. I like the camo as well. So, well done on that side. Also, let's go in and, before we go into the stats, let's check out our commander. We have Isoroku Yamamoto. Okay. Norman Scott is our inspiration. As you can see, we're only level 11, I believe. Or no, we're only level 8. Yeah, 11, I'd be able to get the second inspiration. What am I talking about? But Norman Scott gives you the bonus for main battery precision on your cruiser. So, he's amazing. He's an American commander. Then we have Right Through, which is his base trait, which I'm probably going to end up putting as a trait on my American cruisers inspirations as well. So, yeah. Gives you an extra shell penetration multiplier of 3% at its current level. Then we've got Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, Fixated, and Fully Packed, which gives you extra consumable charge and a faster reload. So that is our commander. Now, if we go to this part, what do we have? We have Aiming Systems, Propulsion Mod, Concealment, and Main Battery Mod. Now, there's a couple things you could do differently here if you wanted to, but I prefer the reload time here rather than torpedoes and range of the main batteries, just because this thing is meant to set fires, and so that's what you want to do. Now, if we go to our loadout, obviously I have my alpha test flag. A lot of people ask me about this all the time. If you look, I have the beta for beta weekend 1, I have beta weekend 2, alpha test, and then obviously early adopter. Just, you know, getting into the game early on. But alpha tester flag, if you were an alpha tester, you get this flag for free. There's nothing special about them. It's just something cool to show, hey, I've been here all along. So that's all it is. And then, of course, your Type 9 camo is C detectability range and incoming fire dispersion -4.5, +4.5, and that is permanent. It'll never go away. Now, there's nothing that you can change here as far as your consumables go. Stats, survivability, 40,000 hit points, so not bad. Torpedo damage reduction of 16%. That's almost as good as the Iowa, right? So, in other words, don't get hit with torpedoes. Artillery, 203mm guns, and it's got 10 of them in a 5x2 configuration. I believe it has 4 guns up front, 3 guns at the rear. I could be, you know, wrong there, but it's got 15.9 kilometer range, 14 seconds reload time, so it's a little slow reload. And that was one of the first things I noticed about this thing with the 203s, is that they reload kind of slow. If you put this thing up against the Baltimore is a full 2 seconds faster on the reload than this. So, yeah, not preferable. And the Baltimore has much better AP than this. So, that's definitely not preferable. This thing is meant to set fires, and I'll tell you that in a moment. HE shell damage, 3,300, which is more than most cruisers. and a 19.5% chance to set on fire. That's not bad. AP damage, 4,935 damage. And then, of course, secondaries. It's got 8 secondaries at 127 millimeters. Not preferable. But they do fire 5.3 kilometers, so not the worst. And they fire HE. But generally, you're not going to need to worry about secondaries on cruisers. If you're in secondary battery range of anything that, you know, if hopefully it's a destroyer, but, you know, you shouldn't be getting that close to a destroyer either. Anyway, moving on. Torpedoes. One of the good things. It's a Japanese boat, so it's going to have good torpedoes. It's got the fully upgraded 610mm quadruple launchers that you expect on Japanese ships, like the Kagero. If you fully build this for a torpedo build, you can get these torpedoes up to 11.6 using, what's his name? Raizo Tanaka, the destroyer captain. You can use him to punch these torpedoes up to 10 kilometers. I know that's a dumb thing, but it was an experiment that I did, so calm down before you judge me. I decided to test some things out with this to see what it was like. And obviously I ended up going with the cruiser captain, because losing 2 of your perks because it's a torpedo specific or a destroyer specific skill is kind of dumb. But there was a couple interesting things I found out with that, and I won't go into detail because this is not the video for that. However, 62 knot speed, 10 kilometers, these torps are pretty good. And like I said, it's got 2 on each side. So you have 8 torpedoes per side on this thing that pack a wallop, 17,000 damage maximum. So you're not joking around with these torpedoes. These torpedoes hit you, you're going to know it, and you're probably not going to be very long for this world. AA defense, it's pretty good, but it's still, you know, we don't need to worry about that. It's, you know, 35.5 knots, though. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. 35.5 knots will at least allow you to be ahead of most of the battleships, or at least be able to outrun most of the battleships. But 790-meter turning radius on a cruiser. Now, if you remember correctly, we just did a thing on the Alabama where the Alabama was, what, 720 meters? So this thing turns worse than a battleship. Just, you know, something to think about. But it does have a faster rudder shift time. So you'll at least be able to move left and right a little quicker, even though a full turn is going to be horrendous. Concealment. Okay. Detectability by sea, 10.6. Detectability by air, 6.6. Guaranteed is 2 kilometers as usual. And detectability in smoke is actually not bad at 7 kilometers. But again, this thing is not meant for anything other than HE. AP can be used against broadside cruisers, but if you're in an AP battle versus another cruiser, you're in trouble because your rate of fire is just not good. But I mean, it's right there with the Mogami, so I can't really say it's bad for a Japanese. No, it's not. It's just that the Japanese guns don't reload as fast as the Americans because the Japanese have other ways to hurt you, whereas the Americans are solely gun focused. So their guns have to be better. But Pyromania, above average chance for HE shells to cause fire, superior HE damage, so above average HE damage in total, and then it's got sluggish aim. It says below average main battery traverse speed, close quarters combat is problematic. Again, not something you want to be up close and personal with for multiple reasons, and one of those is this thing gets citadeled all the time. And you'll see a little bit of that in the video, so before we get too far into it, this has been the beginning, and I'll see you guys in the video. Alright, now, I know the intro was a bit long, so I apologize for that. But I felt it was, you know, one of those ships that you kind of go over a little bit. The Atago, or Atago, the Atago, for those of us who speak with, you know, different dialects. Anyway, it's not a bad ship, so don't get me wrong in that sense, okay? You're going to see that this ship is fully capable of handling its own. And so keep that in mind. This map I hate. I hate this map. You guys know this. North is not my map. As much as I love Estuary, I hate this map. It just never seems to work out in my favor on this map very often. But we've got a domination. There's one destroyer on the enemy team because, of course, there would only be one. I'm not in a battleship. I'm in a cruiser, which is fully capable of absolutely nuking destroyers. So, of course, now that I'm in a cruiser, we're not going to get 5 destroyers on the enemy team. We're going to get 1. And they're going to be a whole bunch of battleships. But luckily, there's a couple cruisers as well. But we're going to do everything in our power to, you know, put holes in the bad guys. And preferably keep holes out of our ship. And this brings me right back to the issue that I have with the ship. While this ship is fully capable of being a good little ship, it is also fully capable of being a floating citadel of sadness. It's good enough to make you feel good, just like the Pensacola, and bad enough to make you just hate life, just like the Pensacola. And there's going to be a lot of references to the Pensacola because I'll be real honest, I think that this is the biggest, you know, biggest argument for what this thing is just a Pensacola with torpedoes at tier 7 instead of tier 5. It's a big ship. It's a long ship. It's got amazing HE. Look at this Kagero. Like, he doesn't even know what's about to hit him. Luckily for him, I suck. And I completely missed. Now, he's been sat on fire once. And, he's not going to get out of this without getting punished. Because you can't sail in a straight line for too long. I will eventually hit you. And we knock out his torpedo tubes. Temporarily. But he gets away for now. Luckily, he'd already shot his torpedo tubes. And our poor guy over there in the smoke screen is like, oh my god, what are those? It's like there was a destroyer here a minute ago. But he's fine. He didn't get hit by them. Why? Because he knew they were coming. You don't see Japanese destroyers unless they're launching torpedoes at you and don't know what they're doing. Because if you see a Japanese destroyer, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, myself included. Now, we have an Iowa, an Amagi, and a Colorado over here, which is less than ideal. 3 battleships fully capable of deleting us with 16-inch guns at any moment. But we're going to do what we have to do to keep ourselves alive. Now, you can see that I immediately turn away. I'm like, oh god, I got to get myself over here to the island, use the island for cover, but the Amagi can see me because I'm spotted by their stupid Kagero. And, wait for it. Come on, Kagero. Let's get him off the board. We definitely hit him. We definitely set a fire. That's our second fire, and oh my god! There goes half our health. Thank you, Amagi! Appreciate it. Remember the whole getting Citadel thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Unfortunate. But, you know, you can't give up. Just because you get screwed over early because you put yourself in a position that was not preferable, doesn't mean that you can give up. And this ship is fully capable of coming back. Now, you see, I get the shot off. I knew where he was at, kind of. And we didn't actually kill him. It's unfortunate. It's almost like when he disappeared, he changed course. Or I was just wrong to begin with. Could be too. We've only got 11,000 damage, and we have taken quite a bit more than that. But one good thing about this ship is that it has a heal. So you can get some of that back. Now, Citadel damage can only be recovered, like, what, 1/3 of Citadel damage? Or is it 2/3? I can't remember. It's not a lot when it comes to Citadel damage that you can recover. But recovering some is better than recovering none. Now, we lost almost half our health, and we're able to get at least some of that back. And we're back up to going to be right around 27,000 health. You know, when we're able to re-heal. Colorado, on the other hand, is coming out here to play. And so we're going to go ahead and try to set him on fire. We'd already set him on fire once. And, oh my god, we're going to take a torp. Just kidding, we're in a cruiser. Wasn't even worried. Wasn't worried one bit that I was going to take a torpedo from a Japanese destroyer that would have almost certainly been the death of me. I mean, not quite. 17,000 damage to 20,000 damage on the Kagero, if you have all the buffs and stuff. It's going to hurt a lot, but it's not fatal all the time. It could have detonated me, you never know. Never take a torpedo if you can avoid it. That's my theory in the matter. Now, this Kagero is still alive out here. And I told my teammate, I'm like, dude, I don't have hydro running. I'm on cooldown. And luckily, the Kagero missed. And so we're going to take this moment. Come on, get the guns loaded. Come on, Spartan, don't screw this up. Ah, he's gonna get away. Okay, back to the Amagi then. Fine, I'll deal with the Amagi. Now, this is an Iowa that's with us, and this Iowa is in a rough way. He's already taken multiple torpedoes from that Kagero, partly due to my fault, but, you know, what can you do? Now, we launched the first set of torps, and remember what I said about this thing. It has torps on both sides, and it has 8 torpedoes on both sides. That's 16 total torpedoes of just absolute destruction anytime that this thing decides that you need to die. And they're 10 kilometers, and they move pretty quickly. It's 60, what we say it was, 62 knots? Yeah. They don't take that long to get to the target, and this thing sets fires like nobody's business. That is good. And luckily, the Amagi managed to miss all of our torpedoes. Because he's an absolute legend. Or I'm just really bad with torpedoes. Take your pick. Speaking of torpedoes, once again, no, you're not allowed to hit me with your stupid torpedoes. Because I'm in a cruiser. And being in a... Oh my god! Okay, we're alive. We're fine. I don't know how, but we're fine. Anytime you want to burn to death, Amagi, it would be preferable. Quit shooting me, please. Thank you. Hey, look, it's our buddy in the Kagero. He's gotten himself spotted again by shooting his guns at a cruiser at 5 kilometers. Yeah, you don't get to be that stupid for too long, okay? You've gotten to be stupid for long enough. Now, this Iowa, again, remember I said they have it on both sides of the ship. So I go ahead and I line up torpedo strike, and I'm in secondary battery range of this Iowa, which means he's running the secondary mod on the Iowa, which is fine. It's unfortunate for me because they're not bad secondaries. They tend to be pretty accurate, and they do a considerable amount of damage to a broadside cruiser. But we're not broadside anymore. However, we don't have to be broadside because that Iowa has 16-inch guns. 16-inch guns are very, very bad for me, but my torpedoes are even worse for him because he's 900 feet long. He's a very hard target for even me to miss. Luckily, he doesn't stay in a straight line forever, and we only get 2 hits. But 2 hits is still half your health in an Iowa because you get very little reduction. Now, our Richelieu over here is going to do something extremely questionable. And this has been an issue with Richelieus that I've noticed. First of all, I love Richelieus when they come against me because you want to kill a Richelieu, all you have to do is blow those front guns up. Just kill them. Just shoot straight at the guns, blow the front guns up. He has nothing but his secondaries to shoot you with at that point. And, you know, in order for him to shoot you with those secondaries, he has to give you the back of his ship, which means there's a big flat piece of armor that goes straight into his citadel that makes him a very vulnerable target when he's got the back of his ship facing you. However, I completely forgot that the Iowa had me on his mind. After the Richelieu sailed past him broadside on, I was like, oh, I'm fine. And then right before the Iowa fires, I look at his guns and they're looking right at me. And I'm like, oh my god, he's going to shoot me. But it was too late. And this thing, like I've said before, gets absolutely wrecked. And, yeah. Unfortunately, Richelieu, sailing past him, broadside onto him, wasn't a juicy enough target for that Iowa. Would have been for me, but, you know, whatever. You're going to die anyway. Why not get all of the citadels off the battleship? But what do I know? We've done pretty well. We've got 98,000 damage. We got 2 torpedo hits. We've got two kills. Some fires started. We did all right. And that's kind of where this ship sits. It's all right. It's nothing crazy. It's very easy to kill. Unless you're in a destroyer, in which case, good luck. If you're in a destroyer versus this thing and you get spotted, you will die. The amount of firepower that this thing can throw at you is just death. Don't do it. Don't get yourself spotted versus a cruiser, especially high-tier cruiser, in a destroyer. Low tiers, you can out-DPM them. High tiers, they will absolutely murder your face with their 203mm guns. It's just not worth it. Or in the German case, 210mm guns. You just don't want to go picking a gunfight against cruisers if you're the only thing that they can shoot at. Now, if you sneak up on them, by all means. If you think you can citadel them quickly with armor piercing while they're broadside facing somebody else, then by all means. But in general, you do not want to get into a gunfight with a cruiser when you are in a destroyer. Take the Kagero, for example. Not preferable. But the Richelieu is sailing off into the sunset. There's one guy left on the enemy team, and that brings us to our closing thoughts on the ship. It's not a bad ship. I personally wouldn't spend, don't go out of your way to get this thing early. You know, punch your way through the campaign as far as you can. Maybe you can unlock it for the 2,500 that it costs to get the Admiralty. But personally, I don't know. It's just not for me. It's not good enough cruiser for me. Most cruisers that I play that I enjoy are the Americans because of their amazing armor-piercing capabilities and their big damage potential with that DPM. This thing's armor-piercing isn't that great, and so you end up using HE a lot. And the HE, while it is substantial, it lacks the ability to clutch that the American cruisers have. But as you can see, top of the leaderboard, we got all the stats. Not the greatest game ever, I understand, but it was a good showcase of what the ship is capable of and also its weakness. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.